Okay, so this is the last unit or last lesson in our chapter. And the cool thing about this is we've done this before. I already see Caroline already has figured it out. Okay? It's called factoring expressions. Now, factoring expressions is one of your vocabulary words. And the key part of factoring, does anybody know the definition for the factoring?
Oh, let me look for my thing.
Factoring is, the key word for it is breaking it down. And most of the time, when we're breaking it down, we're breaking it into common factors, usually known as the GCF. And when I think about the GCF, what method do we use to find the GCF?
Slide.
All right. My people called it the slide. Miss Green's people called it the cake. It's the same exact thing, just different name. Okay? I like the slide. Miss Green likes cake. I mean, I like cake too, but I like to go on slides. All right, so we're just using the slide method. So if you learned the slide method last year and paid attention to it and remember it, today should be easy. Okay? So the whole goal is to pull out things that they have in common. What operation is pulling out? Division. So if I have 24 and 48, what can go evenly divide into 24 and 48? Don't give me the biggest number. Give me don't give me the biggest number. Let's practice some cases. We can do 12. I heard 8. I heard 4. Let's go 8. It's in the middle between the two. Okay. All those would work, but let's go with 8 just because I want us to do the several steps. So we're doing 24 divided by 8. We're undoing this process to make the distributive property. Okay? So we're going backwards. With the distributive property, we usually have been going forwards and we've been multiplying. Here we're going backwards and we are dividing. So 24 divided by 8 is 3. And then I have to do 48 divided by 8, which is 6. Can I stop?
No, you can divide both of them by 3.
We do both of them by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. Can I keep going?
No.
No. What's a sign that I can't keep going? Alright, so we hit a 1 and we know we're done. McKenzie said they're beside each other. They're neighbors on the number line. They're neighboring numbers. If I look on the number line, 1 and 2 live next to each other. When people live next to each other, that's called your neighbors. They're neighboring numbers. Okay, so that means that's as far as I can go. So now I can drop these numbers into the distributive property template. I can just take and drop those down, and drop those down. What's going to go on the outside right here?
8 times 8 is a 3.
The GCF. Well, how do I find the GCF? It's the numbers multiplied together that's on the outside. So 8 times 3 is 24. Now, Horace originally had said 24, and yes, you could have originally just went ahead and pulled 24 out, and it would have worked. But I wanted to show you the steps as well. So this right here is our distributive property. The beauty about these is you can check these every time to see if you got them right. I can check it and go, what's 24 times 1? 24. What's 24 times 2? 48. Positive 48. I should, when I check it, get what I originally started with. If I don't, then I did something wrong. Okay, so you should always check to verify so it works out. We're also able, once again it's saying factor. When you see factor, things should be triggering in your mind. You're breaking it down. Factors, I'm thinking GCF. Factors, I'm thinking the slide method. Here they want you to factor out the GCF. You'll take your expression. Oh my gosh, it has a variable. Do I change the way I do this because it has a variable? No, what are we going to do with that variable? Just keep it there. Okay, he's just hanging out. Going with the flow. What do y'all want to do with 24 and 18?
Divide by 6.
I heard 6. Let's divide by 6. So 24 divided by 6. 24 divided by 6. 4x. Here we have negative 18 divided by 6. I heard negative 3. Can I keep going? How do I know I can't keep going?
Because they're right beside each other.
They're neighbors. They live next to each other on the number line. We got 4 and 3. So how do I write this as the distributive property?
6.
In parentheses.
4x.
Okay, and then I could check it. I could go 6 times 4x is 24x. And then 6 times negative 3 is negative 18, which is what I started with, so I did it correctly. Nothing tremendously new here, right? You remember this from last year?
Juno Hamrick, please come sign out. Juno Hamrick.
Alright, for some practice, I want you to try number 3. Try number 3 under the try it. You're factoring using GCF. So I got 36C plus 24D. What did you start with?
12.
Somebody start with 12 and
I started with 6.
6. Okay. So 36 divided by 6 is 6C. And 24 divided by 6 is positive 4D. Can I try again? Yep, they're both even, so I know I'm going to try 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3C, and positive 4 divided by 2 is positive 2D.
Superintendent,
Yes, ma'am?
please send Zaylen to the office.
Yes, ma'am. Well, if your mom came through for you, Zaylen. Alright, so, can I go any further? No. How do I know? They're neighbors. You ever watch Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood? Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? Alright. Okay. So how do I write this? What is my GCF here? What's going to go on the outside of my parentheses? 12. I've got to multiply the numbers I use together and get 12, and then I just drop the other numbers down. And I can check it. 12 times 3 gives me 36. 12 times 2 gives me 24, which is what I originally started with. Okay? Alright, flip it over. A lot of people freak out when they see these fractions, but the beauty is it tells you what they want you to factor out if you read the directions. It says factor. Let's pull out. What are we going to pull out? Or what are we going to divide by? 1/2. So we're going to take the original expression, 1/2 x plus 3/2, and what do they want us to start with? What do they want us to factor first? 1/2. That's what they're telling us. That's what they want us to break it down using. But you have to be careful what order you put things in. So you have 1/2 divided by 1/2 gives me 1x. Do I have to put that 1 there? No. On a test, it's probably not going to be there if it's a multiple choice option. So we're just going to leave it as x. Then I have 3/2 divided by 1/2. Order matters. So 3/2 divided by 1/2, positive 3. Can I go any further? No. How do we know?
You hit one.
You hit a 1, so we're done. So how do I write this as the distributive property? And I could check my work. I could do 1/2 times x is 1/2 x. And 1/2 times 3 is 3/2, which is what I started with. So I know I got it right. If you look at the directions where under the try it, it tells you to factor out the coefficient. This is why your vocabulary is important. Because if you didn't know what the word coefficient means, would you know how to do this problem? No. What is the coefficient? And number 4 is 1/2. But how do I know what the coefficient is? It's next to the variable. It's what's being multiplied, right? So let's look at number 5. Because we already did 1/2. So if I've got 3/4 p minus 3/2, and it wants me to factor using the coefficient. What is the coefficient here? 3/4. What is 3/4 divided by 3/4? 1p, or just p. I have negative 3/2 divided by 3/4. That's what I put in my calculator. Negative 3/2 divided by 3/4. Negative 2 or negative 1/2? Negative 2. You've got to plug it in the correct order. Had I done 1/2 and went back to check my work, I would have caught myself and realized 3/4 times 1/2 does not give me 3/2. And so that would have been a good way to catch yourself. Okay, can I go any further? No, because I got a 1. So as a distributive property, it would be 3/4 p minus 2. All right, you try number 6. What's our coefficient that we're supposed to be factoring out? So I've got 5 plus 2.5q. My coefficient is 2.5. So I did 5 divided by 2.5, which gave me 2, and then 2.5 divided by 2.5 is just 1Q, so we just write it as Q. So as the distributive property, it's 2.5 parentheses 2Q. Have any questions so far? Okay, like I said, I like these because they're telling me what to start with, and it makes life a lot easier, in my opinion. Okay, we're just going to move it on along. Example 3, we're factoring out a negative number. So what, in our expression, negative 4p plus 10, what do they want us to factor out? What do they tell us? Negative 2. So you got to be careful with your negatives here and pay attention to your signs. I will make sure I use my calculator. Negative 4p divided by negative 2 gives me 2p. Positive 10 divided by negative 2, negative 5. Can we go any lower? No, 2 and 5 are both prime numbers, which means nothing will go into 2 and 5, right? So as the distributive property, what would it be? And if I were to check it and I did negative 2 times 2p, I would get negative 4p. And if I did negative 2 times negative 5, I would get positive 10. Alright, so what am I factoring out of this one? Negative 5. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is 1, so it's just going to be D. And positive 30 divided by negative 5 is negative 6. So as the distributive property, it would be negative 5 parentheses D minus 6. Good. Alright, you try number 8. We had negative 8k minus 12, factoring out negative 4. So negative 8 divided by negative 4 should give me 2k. And negative 12 divided by negative 4 should give me, and as the distributive property, it should look like that. Questions, comments, or concerns about any of that? Like I said, if you know how to do the slide or the cake, you can do this. Look at this word problem here. Ooh, word problems. You don't need word problems. You can do it, I promise. You can do it. An organization drills 3 wells to provide access to clean drinking water. The cost in dollars to drill and maintain the wells for N years is represented by $34,500 plus $550 in. So $34,500 is our constant. Like that's how much it costs to make the well plus $540 per year to keep it up. Okay? Write and interpret an expression that represents the cost for 1 well. How many wells is this, the cost for? That's for 3 wells. We want for, so how are we going to figure that out? Divide by 3. Haven't we been doing that this whole time? Haven't we been factoring, which is dividing, this whole time? So couldn't I take this and factor out 3 and it tell me the price per 1? So 34,500, a lot of money, divided by 3 is
11,500.
that's just to build the well plus 540 divided by 3 is $180 per year. Now you looked at that and you went, ooh, what a problem. But was that really that difficult? So, are they wanting us to put this into the distributive property? No. What is our answer here? What is the price for 1 well?
180,000.
It's this right here. That's the price for 1 well. This is the constant. This is how much it takes to make it. And then this is how much it takes to maintain it. Because if I go over to Africa and I drill wells to provide for clean water, and then I don't keep it up, is it really worth going over there and spending the money to do that? No. That's what kind of breaks third world countries sometimes, is America swoops in and goes, oh, we're going to fix your problem. We give them the stuff, and then we leave. But if we don't help maintain the stuff breaks, right? And if they don't have the stuff to fix the stuff that breaks, then there's no point in it. It's useless. Like one time over in Haiti, there was a big hurricane. Well, we're out of medical supplies and all this stuff. So America was like, oh, we're going to help. And we sent over all this stuff because America wants to fix things. We sent over, and they had a good heart behind it, and they sent all this medical equipment over there. Well, Haiti doesn't have the infrastructure to maintain and keep up. Like, we have people who know how to work on medical equipment when it breaks, and we have the parts to fix it. Haiti doesn't have that. They just gave them the stuff, and it worked for a little bit, but things break, right? And then now all they have is these really expensive stuff that's broken, and they can't use it. So, I mean, who are they going to sell it to? Nobody needs them. It's broken. I mean, so, anyways. So when you become business people, or when you decide you want to try and help people, you can't just give them the stuff. You got to have a way to maintain it. Okay? Life lesson for the day. Don't just try and fix the problem. How are you going to maintain it? Okay? All right. Because I believe in you, and because I feel like you can do this part right here, because we did this last year, we're going to skip this part. Okay? We're going to skip this practice because I know you know how to do it. Or I'm going to assume you know how to do it. Okay? On this side right here. Alright, I just want you to do 24 through 30. So I just want 24 through 30 on this side for practice. And then on the back, just do 38 through 41. So that's 4 and 6. So that's 10 problems. Okay? Try those and then we'll go over the answers. So 24 through 30 and then the 4 problems on the back of the page.
Okay.
Okay? Try that.